These three vibrations only appear in dark chosen ones in peak times. There is a rhythm to the universe that very few ever hear. It's not in the wind, not in the rivers, not in the stars. It is in the silence beneath all things. And even deeper than that, beneath the silence of the world, is a pulse reserved only for those who walk the path of darkness with purpose. When I say dark, I don't mean evil. I mean the unseen, the unchosen, the ones who carry burdens too heavy for ordinary hearts. These are the dark chosen ones. And in their darkest, most defining moments, three sacred vibrations emerge, frequencies so rare, so ancient, so powerful, that they change everything. This is not mythology. It is not metaphor. It is a reality few dare to explore. You see, most people are addicted to light. They chase joy, clarity, happiness, and answers. But the dark chosen ones, we are called to something else. We are called to the void, to the unknown, to the silence after the storm. You felt it, haven't you? That overwhelming sense that you don't belong, that your pain is not random, that your suffering is not just a result of life being unfair. Deep inside, you've known there's something inside you that has been waiting to awaken. And it only awakens in the crucible of chaos, in the furnace of collapse, in the peak of your darkest times.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever been so broken that even your tears dried up? Have you ever stared into the abyss of your own soul and seen not emptiness, but something ancient looking back at you? That was the first of the vibrations. You may not have noticed it. It didn't come with lightning or fire. It came as stillness, a deep, humming stillness. That was the call. The call is the first vibration. It vibrates not in your ears, but in your bones. It doesn't communicate with words, it speaks in shivers, in gut feelings, in eerily timed synchronicities. The call doesn't ask for attention. It requires surrender. It doesn't promise safety. It demands transformation. We only feel the call when we are stripped of everything we thought we were. When the ego dies and the mask falls, the call rises. And it only comes to those who are ready to lose everything in order to become something unimaginable. Now here's the paradox: the call doesn't feel good. It feels like loss. It feels like betrayal. It feels like abandonment. That's why so few recognize it. They mistake it for punishment when it's actually initiation. In those moments when the world turns against you, when your name is forgotten, when your love is rejected, when your body is weak and your mind is screaming, that is when the call begins to vibrate. And if you stay still long enough, if you stop trying to escape the pain and instead sink into it, you'll hear it. A low, ancient tone that doesn't come from outside but from deep within, the vibration of potential not yet realized. You are not cursed. You are being summoned. But the call is only the first vibration. The second is far more dangerous. It's called the fracture, and it only comes when you answer the call. Imagine this: you've survived the darkness, you've surrendered to the void, and now something starts to shift inside you. Old beliefs begin to crumble. Your identity dissolves. You start to see things differently. People, time, even your own thoughts start to warp. This is not madness. This is metamorphosis. The caterpillar must dissolve into goo before it becomes the butterfly. The fracture is that goo. It is the shattering of your old self. Most never make it past this point, because this is where the pain intensifies. You begin to question everything. You begin to lose interest in things you once loved. Friends drift away. You feel like a stranger in familiar places. And the worst part, no one understands you. No one sees what you're becoming. They think you're losing it, but you're not. You're being reassembled. During the fracture, the vibration becomes chaotic. It's not a hum anymore, it's dissonant, like multiple frequencies fighting for dominance inside you. And that's exactly what's happening. Your old programming is battling your emerging self. The vibration is rearranging your energetic DNA. You are being prepared for something colossal, something sacred, something terrifying. I remember when I first felt the fracture. I was alone in a room I used to love, surrounded by things that once brought me joy. And suddenly, all of it felt alien. I felt like a ghost in my own life. That's when it hit me. I was dying not physically, but energetically. My old self was being erased. And in its place, something ancient was waking up. Something that had been dormant for lifetimes. Have you ever felt like that? Like you were disappearing piece by piece, and yet somehow becoming more real than ever before. It takes courage to endure the fracture. It's a spiritual dismemberment, a purification by fire. But if you stay with it, if you don't run back to comfort, if you don't numb yourself with distractions, then something miraculous happens. The third vibration begins to rise, the emergence. This is the rarest of all. It doesn't come with a bang. It comes with clarity. After the storm, after the wreckage, after the identity collapse, you emerge, not as who you were, but as who you've always been beneath the lies. The emergence is when your true frequency is revealed. And here's the secret: your true frequency is not light or dark. It is both. It is the harmony of opposites. It is the song of the soul unbound. In the emergence, you no longer seek validation. You no longer crave escape. You become presence itself. You walk through the world with a stillness that disrupts illusions. You speak little, but your words carry weight. You no longer belong to the world, yet the world bends around your presence. People feel it. Animals sense it. Even nature responds to you differently. Because your vibration is no longer human, it is archetypal, mythic, divine. But to reach the emergence, you must survive the call. You must endure the fracture. And you must not forget you were chosen for this. Not because you are better, not because you are special in an egoic sense, but because you are willing to carry what others cannot. You are willing to feel what others avoid. You are willing to die and be reborn while still breathing. So I leave you with a question that only the dark chosen nuns can truly answer. What if your greatest pain is not a punishment but an ancient ritual of awakening? When the world breaks you, the soul begins to speak. Have you ever stood in the ruins of your own life and felt something whisper from the debris? Not with words, but with a knowing and unmistakable, soul-level awareness that what just shattered was never really yours to begin with? That's when the voice of the soul begins to speak. Not the mind, not the ego, the soul. And it only ever speaks clearly after the world has broken you. You see, most people fear breaking. They fear falling apart. But what if that breaking is the only way your true voice can emerge? What if the noise of the world, the expectations, the trauma, the roles you were forced to play was so loud that your soul had to wait for silence to speak? And silence often only comes after devastation. That's why dark chosen ones don't run from collapse. We walk into it. We don't fear the breaking, we become the cracked vessel through which the light of truth pours. Let me tell you something that might sting. Not everyone is meant to awaken in this lifetime. Most will live entire lives in shallow waters, avoiding the deep ocean of their being. But you're different, aren't you? You felt the pull of something deeper. You've noticed how the surface pleasures no longer satisfy. You've tasted the bitterness of truth and still gone back for more. That's the sign. That's the mark of one who is being reshaped by the soul. But the soul speaks a language that ego cannot understand. It speaks in paradoxes. It speaks through pain. It speaks through the unraveling of everything you thought was certain. And that's why people resist it. Because when the soul begins to whisper, it doesn't offer comfort. It offers confrontation. It confronts every lie you've ever believed about yourself. It confronts every identity you've clung to for safety. It confronts every mask you've worn to be loved. And it asks you, gently but firmly, are you ready to remember who you really are? That question changes everything. When you start listening to the soul, the world no longer makes sense in the way it used to. You start to see the illusions. You start to notice how much of life is built on fear, on control, on pretending. And it hurts. It hurts to see how asleep everyone is. It hurts to realize how many years you spent sleepwalking too. But that pain is necessary. It's the fire that burns away your attachments. It's the acid that dissolves the false self. And here's the thing: when you reach this place, when the soul begins to speak, you can't go back. You can try. You can pretend. You can distract yourself. But nothing will ever feel the same. The job will feel hollow. The relationships will feel shallow. The conversations will feel empty. Because your frequency has changed. You've tuned into a deeper signal. And now, superficiality makes you sick. But that's also when something miraculous begins to happen. You start attracting different experiences. Not instantly, not in a flashy, magical way, but slowly, subtly, with deep precision. People begin to show up in your life who speak your language without needing words. Synchronicities increase. You start hearing the same message in different forms: a song lyric, a stranger's comment, a dream. That's the soul guiding you in real time. That's the second vibration, the fracture starting to stabilize into a new harmony. And yet, it's not easy. Because the soul doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about your evolution. It will lead you into the fire. It will strip you of everything that is not true. It will test your loyalty to your own becoming. And that's where many fall away. They want the gifts of awakening without the death it demands. But you, if you're still here, you're not like them. You're still listening. You're still feeling. You're still willing to walk barefoot through the glass of your own illusions, just to hear one more whisper from the soul. Let me ask you something. What are you still holding on to that the soul is asking you to release? That question isn't small. It might be everything. A relationship, a belief, a dream that no longer fits who you're becoming. And the longer you hold on, the more you suffer. Because the soul cannot take you forward while your hands are full of the past. You must let go, not because you're weak, but because you're ready for something higher, something deeper, something real. And when you let go, truly let go, something incredible happens. You don't fall. You rise. You rise into a version of yourself you've never met before, but who has been waiting for you all along. Becoming the storm, how the dark chosen shape reality. There comes a moment in every dark chosen one's journey where you stop seeking shelter from the storm and you realize you are the storm. Not in a destructive way, but in a sacred, transformative way. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are no longer the one begging the universe for mercy. You become the force that bends reality by sheer presence. And this shift, it changes everything. You see, most people walk through life reacting. They are pushed, pulled, manipulated by systems, emotions, expectations, and fears they don't even recognize. But when you've gone through the call and survived the fracture, when the soul begins to lead and clarity starts forming like crystal in your mind, you stop reacting. You begin creating. Not from ego, not from desire, but from alignment. That's the difference. Your power doesn't come from wanting, it comes from being. The third vibration, the emergence, isn't just about personal peace or enlightenment. It's about influence. Not influence in the social media sense, not likes or followers, but energetic influence. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. People can't explain it, but they feel it. Dogs notice it. Children stare. The wind moves differently around you. Why? Because you've become a conduit for something timeless. You've emptied yourself enough that the divine can move through you without resistance. But here's the secret. This level of emergence can only happen when you stop trying to control reality and instead start co-creating with it. There is a subtle but profound difference. Control is fear wearing a mask. Co-creation is surrender turned into rhythm. You move with the deeper currents of existence. You speak only when the silence demands a voice. You act only when the stillness compels movement. Your life becomes a living ritual where every step, every word, every decision echoes across dimensions. This is what it means to shape reality, not through force, through frequency. And that frequency is born from a soul that has nothing left to prove. Ask yourself, what if you stopped trying to manifest things and started remembering that you are the manifestation? That's how the dark chosen ones operate. We don't chase, we don't beg, we align and reality responds. Not always in the way the ego wants, but always in the way the soul needs. We understand that pain is not punishment. Delay is not denial. Loss is not failure. Everything is feedback. Everything is a mirror. Everything is sacred. When you become the storm, you don't destroy out of rage. You destroy illusions. You dissolve what no longer serves. You create space for truth to rise. And people won't always understand this version of you. Some will call you intimidating. Some will call you cold. Some will say you've changed. They're right. You've changed so deeply that their version of you no longer exists. And that's okay. Because you didn't come here to be understood by everyone. You came here to awaken the few who are ready. You will find them, or more accurately, they will find you. Your vibration will become a beacon, not flashy, not loud, but unmistakable. The ones who are ready to remember who they are will be drawn to you, not because you give them answers, but because your presence reminds them of questions they buried too long. That's your gift. That's your role. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to radiate a frequency that makes illusions uncomfortable and truth irresistible. And here's the most paradoxical part. The more powerful you become, the more humble you become, because you realize that none of it is yours. The wisdom that flows through your words, the energy that moves through your body, the clarity that pulses through your actions, it's not yours. It never was. You are the flute. The divine is the breath. And your only job is to stay in tune. But staying in tune requires discipline, stillness, integrity. It means saying no to what drains you. It means walking away from anything that demands you shrink. It means honoring your energy like it's the most sacred currency you have, because it is. Every interaction is an exchange. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is a ripple in the field of creation. When you truly understand this, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. You stop proving your worth to systems that were never built to recognize it. And in that silence, in that sovereignty, the third vibration stabilizes. You become not just awakened, but anchored. Not just aware, but unshakable. You are the storm now, not to wreak havoc, but to cleanse, to awaken, to signal to the sleeping ones it's time. The forgotten power, why the world needs its dark chosen ones now. There is a reason you were born in this time, in this moment of human history, when the world is unraveling at the seams. There are no coincidences in the architecture of the soul. You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are exactly what this world has forgotten it needs. You are a dark chosen one. The world is obsessed with light, with positivity, with constant growth, with filtered perfection. But that obsession has created imbalance. The collective has been running from its own shadow for centuries, burying pain, avoiding grief, denying death, masking truth. And now it's all surfacing. Systems are collapsing. Illusions are cracking. People are awakening, but they're afraid. They don't know how to navigate the chaos. They've never been taught how to sit with darkness and listen. That's where you come in. The dark chosen ones are the soul guides of this generation, not gurus, not influencers, not saviors, but anchors, bridges, mirrors. We are the ones who have walked through the void and returned with vision. We've died many times while still breathing. We've faced the monsters within so we could hold space for others to meet theirs. Not to fix them, but to remind them they were never broken. You carry codes of remembrance in your vibration. When you speak, when you move, when you simply are, you activate something in others. Not always consciously. Sometimes your presence alone disrupts their sleep. They may resist you. They may project onto you. But deep down, something stirs. That stirring, that's your medicine at work. And that's why your pain had to be so deep. That's why your nights were so long. That's why you felt alone for so many years, because you were being forged, initiated, tempered by fire. The universe was not punishing you, it was preparing you. For this, for now. Now. But here's the truth, this world doesn't just want dark chosen ones, it needs them, desperately. The healers who understand rage, the teachers who've tasted madness, the leaders who've learned not through books but through bleeding, the artists who transmute trauma into beauty, the mystics who can hold both despair and divinity in the same breath. This is the new sacred. This is the forgotten power. And yet, your path won't be easy. Being a dark chosen one means walking alone sometimes. It means being misunderstood. It means constantly dying to your former self just to stay aligned. But it also means freedom. Real freedom, not the kind sold in self-help slogans, but the kind that sings in your bones when you realize you no longer need to be anyone but you. So if you're listening to this, and something inside you is trembling not with fear, but with recognition, then you already know. You've felt it your whole life. You're not here to fit in. You're here to remember, to awaken, to become. Become the stillness in the storm. Become the silence that speaks. Become the presence that heals. Become the mirror that reflects truth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be honest. Honest with your soul. Honest with your path. Honest with your power. And if ever you doubt yourself, remember this. The darkest wood holds the brightest fire. The deepest cave echoes with the most ancient wisdom. And the ones who break the hardest are often the ones carrying the codes to rebuild the world. You are not here to survive. You are here to shift the frequency of everything you touch. You are the forgotten power. And the world is finally remembering you.